Good evening, bienvenidos, and thank you to everyone here today endeavoring towards a better, more just future for our country and our world. In fidelity and gratitude to a mass people's movement working to establish 21st century social, economic, and human rights, including guaranteed health care, higher education, living wages, and labor rights for all people in the United States. A movement striving to recognize and repair the wounds of racial injustice, colonization, misogyny, and homophobia, and to propose and build reimagined systems of immigration and foreign policy that turn away from the violence and xenophobia of our past. A movement that realizes the unsustainable brutality of an economy that rewards explosive inequalities of wealth for the few at the expense of long-term stability for the many, and who organized a historic grassroots campaign to reclaim our democracy. In a time when millions of people in the United States are looking for deep, systemic solutions to our crises of mass evictions, unemployment, and lack of health care, in el espíritu del pueblo and out of a love for all people, I hereby second the nomination of Senator Bernard Sanders of Vermont for President of the United States of America.
How are all of these efforts that we're seeing today any different from what we fought against in the civil rights movement several decades ago? Last year, this committee launched investigations into state actions that limit the ability of Americans to vote, including in the state of Georgia. Now, I want to talk about Georgia. The Georgia Secretary of State reportedly purged more than 500,000 voters from the rolls, blocked thousands of new registrations, and closed polling places, all while he was a candidate for governor. In September 2017, the press reported that efforts to challenge voter registrations, quote, may have violated federal law. In fact, Mr. Kemp, that candidate, responded to this by congratulating his campaign team, writing, quote, good work. This story is so complex, folks will not make it all the way through it.
Georgia keeps us very busy and fighting back against voter discrimination. One of the things that Georgia did that I think speaks to the impact of the purges is that with the exact match law that Georgia had, it points to the repeated efforts at suppression. They're not only aggressively removing voters from the rolls, but also preventing voters from getting on the rolls.
So I'm curious, what do you think of a top election officer in the state of Georgia congratulating his team over these reports?
It's, I'm speechless.
This committee's investigation also shows that as Georgia Secretary of State, Mr. Kemp, worked with the White House and the Kansas Secretary of State, Chris Kobach, with noted ties to white supremacist organizations and individuals. They served together to promote the president's failed voter fraud commission. So let's talk about this voter fraud, the president's allegation that there's mass fraud in the United States. They put together a commission and it was forced to disband because they had so little evidence.
I think the false narrative of voter fraud is used to pass laws that keep eligible voters from being able to vote. And these laws disproportionately impact minority voters.
The antidote to injustice is progress. The cure to this malpractice is a fight for fairness in every election held, in every law passed, in every decision made.